Hi and welcome to Cheeky Richo's How to Make Mozzarella Cheese. We have got 4 litres of whole milk here. Don't use UHT or long life milk because it has been ultra high treated and it will kill the enzymes that you need for the cheese to separate into curds and whey and to work. So you could use goat, buffalo, sheep milk, any sort of milk that you like, but don't use the ultra high treated. We've also got some citric acid. You can just buy that in your local supermarket, and we're just going to dissolve our citric acid in some water until it's well combined. Just pop that in there and just dissolve that. We've got some salt. You could use cheesemaker's salt or kosher salt. I'm just using regular table salt. And we have some rennet. Now, rennet is the culture used. It's made from cows, I think. It's a thermophilic DVS culture and it is used to make cheese. And you can buy it online, specialty stores. I actually bought this in my local homemaker store, which sells pots and pans and things, which is really quite handy because they actually sell the cheese kits, but we're making this from scratch. You are going to need a thermometer, a teaspoon to stir this stuff up, a slotted spoon. I'm just using a spatula because it doesn't have a sharp edge on it. I'd rather use that than a blade. And you're going to need some gloves. Now these gloves have got a cloth lining on the inside of them, which makes them a bit more resistant to heat. Don't just use normal sandwich making gloves because you're going to burn yourself doing this process. We have to heat our milk to 90 degrees Fahrenheit or 32 degrees Celsius. So we're just going to take that over to the stove now and heat it gently. Now we've completely dissolved our citric acid into some of our water, and now we're going to put our rennet into the other water and completely dissolve it. It just looks like a creamy coloured powder. So you've got 100 grams of water here, filtered water, and we're just going to dissolve our rennet into that. And you've got 150 grams over here of our citric acid mixture. Okay, now we've reached 90 degrees Fahrenheit or 32.2 degrees Celsius. We're going to add our citric acid, and this is immediately going to make sort of curds in our milk. So just stir that right in. It'll separate it all out. Okay, now you can see that the milk has sort of separated. See these sort of little clods and curds and things in here? You seriously don't want to see these in your coffee. And now we're just going to send in our rennet, which has been thoroughly dissolved, and we're going to stir that for 30 seconds. So just stir it gently for 30 seconds whilst that's mixed in with our milk and citric acid mixture. Then we're going to pop the lid on and leave it undisturbed for at least 5 minutes. Okay, lid on and leave it for 5 minutes. Okay, after 5 minutes of resting, we're just going to use our spatula and just slice through our curds, making sure we go all the way to the bottom. And you'll find after that it'll start separating into a more yellow whey and more solid curds. And we're going to heat them to 105 degrees Fahrenheit or about 41 degrees Celsius, stirring gently without breaking the curds up too much. I'll just make a diagonal pattern or a square pattern. You see this? Can you see this sort of starting to come away now? Can you see those little squares? Turn that on its side, you might be able to see the little squares. See the square pattern where the fluid's starting to release from the curds now? Okay, once it's reached 105 degrees, we've just been stirring it ever so gently so that the curds don't break up too much. And now we're just going to continue to stir it gently for 5 minutes. So it sort of looks a bit like tofu or something at the moment, like a very, very, very soft cream cheese. And then we're going to use a slotted spoon and remove it from the whey, and then we're going to pop it into the microwave and heat it to 135 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, after 5 minutes of stirring, it is time to remove our curds, and they've got all sort of cloddy. Pop them into a microwave safe bowl, and we're going to microwave them in 1 minute increments until we get to an internal temperature of 135 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 58 degrees Celsius. So just remove our clods, and then we're going to knead it and shape it into our mozzarella balls. So don't discard this whey because you can use that in soup, in scones, in pancakes, a whole host of things. Essentially, it's just the milk with the solids removed. It's very easy to digest in any case. Just remove all those guys as best you can. Also, when you store it in the fridge, keep a little bit of this whey to cover the mozzarella because that will actually preserve it in the fridge for about a week or so. You won't want to keep it any longer than that. You can use it on your pizza cheese, you can use it on a cheese platter, or just have it sliced fresh. Okay, now without making too much mess, we're going to try and press some of this whey back out of our cheese. Now, The trick is don't overwork this, because if you do, it'll become very, very tough and you will not be able to melt it and grate it, because it'll be disgusting. And you don't want it too dry either, so remove as much of this whey as you can. Okay. Okay, and that's what you should have. So into the microwave now on full power for 1 minute. There's quite a bit of weight there, and after 1 minute, we're going to tip it over on itself and drain away more of that whey. Okay, after 1 minute, our temperature is 108 degrees. We're just going to, we've got gloves on now because this is going to get too hot to manage very, very shortly. And we're just going to tip off our excess whey and just fold it over on itself. It's a bit like cottage cheese, or it hasn't really gone rubbery enough just yet. We don't want to overwork it. We just want to just squeeze out this excess whey. And we're going to cook the curds for another 1 minute in the microwave on full power. Into the microwave we go. Okay, after 1 more minute, our curds are 132 degrees. So we're just going to squeeze this excess water out into our whey pot again. Now this has to be 135 degrees for it to be able to stretch. And at this point in time, you're going to realise why you're wearing the gloves, because it's really quite hot. So we need to see how those curds are starting to get a bit rubbery, but it's not quite to the right temperature yet. So we're just going to give it about 30 seconds at this stage, or even 15 seconds, and test our temperature again. Okay, our final 40 seconds, and this is what you should have. It's really quite stretchy now. It's actually got to the right temperature. We're just going to get rid of that excess whey, and you can form it into a ball. Okay, now we just pick it up now, and without overworking it, we're just going to stretch it and pull it into a ball. At this point in time, I'm just going to sprinkle our salt on. Don't put the salt on and then put it in the microwave, because microwave toughens protein when you add salt. Just knead this right through itself and just keep turning it over itself, and it'll start to go sort of a bit glossy and a bit shiny as it's starting to get these little strands happening now. And that's what you should have. It's just like a ball of dough. I'm just going to pinch off a couple of little pieces to make some bocconcini. And just drop them into the whey. You just pinch it off. And these are going to be a delicious tomato and caper and fresh basil snack tomorrow. Just drop those into the whey to cool. They're actually really too small to knead, and they're quite slippery on the gloves as well. But into the whey they go. And then our large piece, just mould it over. It's nice and glossy and shiny and smooth, and we just pop that into the whey to cool as well. You can put it into ice water if you like, but I'm happy enough for it to sit into the whey. And now we just scoop out our mozzarella ball out of the whey, pop it into a bucket or something. Our little baby bocconcinis go in next. A couple of those there somewhere. A couple of scoops of our whey just to cover it, and that will keep it fresh in the fridge for about a week or so. The whey has to go in the fridge as well. And there you have it. Really easy. We just cover that and into the fridge we go. Okay, it's time to remove our cheese from the whey. There's our little bocconcinis. They're an odd shape, but that's all right. They're going in a salad. Here's our big ball of mozzarella. That's going to be going onto our barbecue chicken pizza. And what we don't use is going back into the whey. Okay, we've ended up with 610 grams of fresh mozzarella cheese and 3 and a bit litres of our whey. So we'll just put our little bocconcinis aside. Now I'm going to have a go at grating this, but I'm just as happy to break chunks off it and put it onto my pizza that way. Pretty delicate, so that's what you have. Grates pretty easily. You've got that option. Or you can just break pieces off and just lay it around your pizza in chunks like so, which is my preferred method. It looks a lot more homemade that way. So you can grate it. I've showed you can grate it quite easily, or it crumbles quite well also. And this is nice, just flick through pasta. You can see little strands in it as I'm breaking it up. There's strings in there. You can deep fry this as well. Some panko breadcrumbs and some nice fresh oil, be delightful. There. That's enough for a pizza. Put that to one side. Yum. If you've got milk that you have to use in a hurry, or you happen to get some that's short-coated, or you have a cow, then this is a very economical way of making homemade fresh mozzarella cheese. Caprese salad. Barbecued chicken pizza from scratch.